Hello there and welcome to another Minecraft 1.13 tutorial. My name is Shadow C and today we're going to take a look at this little contraption that I just came up with, inspired by some of the hermits like Mambo Chambo or Ixumaboy himself from Hermitcraft Series 6. And what this does is somehow leverage the 1.13 mechanics that you can dry kelp in a furnace like that, like so. I have some kelp in my hand because I've been farming. And you can generate the dry kelp that you can in turn, use for storing a lot of fuel for your smelting endeavors, and at the same time get the XP out of the furnaces. So basically the way this works, we have a very simple and cheap kelp farm right here. This is only 2 modules. You need a lot more than this if you want this to be able to be effective, and I'm going to explain why in a second. So all of this fuel is going to get delivered into this chest that is going to be picked up by this contraption that I came up with. Now if you want to know what this is a pulse extender and a detector rail. When this car goes through the detector rail, it's going to stop just a little bit under the chest so that it can collect some items and deliver them equally through the furnaces right here. Now this is an 8 furnace array. You can make this larger and effectively by making this pulse extender longer, you can have as many furnaces as you want. I would go with 40 furnaces, for example, to make this really interesting. Here you have the same thing, but it's going to accept dry kelp from this input chest. Now this input chest will accept some fuel. Let's get some, for example, I don't know, let's get 10 dry kelp blocks from here just to demonstrate. I'm going to put them here. They are going to be elevated by that water elevator right there, and it's going to be stored in this exposed silo system right here, but the priority is going to go to the smelter. So as you can see, they went through that water elevator and into that output chest right there, and the car already took them and evenly distributed the fuel through the furnaces. So this means that you're going to be using fuel to burn kelp that automatically generates in that farm, and when you get enough of the dry kelp right here, to get all of this system full up, that means that your fuel is going to start concentrating, storing itself into this storage system for your other smelting endeavors, which means that it's going to favor XP grinding. Because for example, if I go quickly to survival right here, there you go, and as you can see, I was just spamming the click right there and I got a few levels from the furnace. Now the idea of this is that you want to fill this up full of dry kelp. You then want to fill both of these hoppers up, and then you're gonna have 1 stack of dry kelp waiting for you to grab in these furnaces, and that means you're gonna get close to about 30 levels of XP from that. I'm not exactly keen on the math. That might be maybe, I don't know, 20 levels or maybe more, but that means that each one of these furnaces is going to be able to repair an item with mending that you might have. So that's the purpose of this thing. And once you've done with that thing, you're gonna have a lot of fuel that you can just toss into this input chest right here, and it's going to start backing up because you're gonna make much more than what these furnaces can burn. So without further ado, let's go through how many items you need to build this farm and start building it. Alright, so I laid down a chest here with all of the materials that you are going to need to build this farm, and so we have it right here. So we need about, I don't know, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 5 or 6 stacks of some blocks that are going to serve as the structural blocks. They can be any types of blocks. Here I kind of wanted to differentiate the 3 types of structures that we have right here, the front of the farm, then the super smelter, and these are the structural blocks for the kelp farm right here, and then some glass for the water elevators and for the front of the kelp farm. Now you don't need any glass at all, but that's just a choice that I went with. Now this is without the beautification that I did to the front of the farm, so keep that in mind. You're going to need a few more stacks of blocks to be able to build the room to the front of it, and then 2 quartz stairs. You're gonna need a little bit more, or any type of stairs to place on top of the input chests that you can see there. Now you need about 4 stacks of signs, 26 chests, 8 furnaces. This is an 8 furnace array. We need 16 observers for 2 modules of kelp farm, 16 pistons, 52 hoppers. That's a lot of hoppers, but I think it's worth the while. Then 2 droppers for the 2 dropper water elevators right there, together with the 2 blocks of soul sands. And then for the rail system and redstone stuff, we need 5 regular rails, 2 detector rails, 18 power rail, 4 redstone comparator, 2 repeater, 3 torches, and then 2 minecarts with hopper, and about half a stack of redstone tanks. Of course, don't forget the dirt that you need to grow the kelp on, and about 16 pieces of kelp, of course, that you need to do like the first planting of the farm. Alright, so let's start with making a copy of this, because I just came up with this concept and I'm probably not sure how to, do it without looking at it. So I'm gonna just build one just nearby, just right next to it. I think this is 12 blocks, right? No, it's not 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 2 either side. It's actually 3 either side, but we'll worry about that later. All right, so let's start with some chest placements right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have hoppers going into each of the chests like so. So we have 2 furnaces feeding into 1 chest. That's what I came up with. Alternatively, you can build this chest down here and then have some water flowing into that direction, and when you destroy the chest with axes, for example, you can get all of the items delivered at you at once, so that you can craft very quickly. But I'm not doing that just here, because I don't think you gain, well, you gain a little bit of time from doing that, but it's not a big deal. So I just wanted to do it in a way where you can just, see the chests and just access them and, craft your stuff. Maybe what we should do here is just add a crafting bench, because that's something that you really, really need for this to work, and that's a real improvement from that. Anyway, so let's continue with a little bit of the device that we have right here. Is an input chest and an exposed silo storage system, and we're gonna just align with this right here. Let me just place just any block here, and the chests go here, as you can see, and I'm gonna go with a row of 6. All right, 6 double chests, and I'm gonna leave a gap here, and I'm going to start working on the input chest right here. Now this is a very, very simple dropper clock. All right, so what we want to have here is a hopper facing into a dropper that is going to be facing this way, because here's where the water elevator is going to go. So I'm going to place soul sand right here so that we have bubbles going up, mark that the place right there, hopper going that way, and then we're going to do a very simple hopper clock going this way. So a comparator and a repeater, and then we go around like that. There we have a clock, and with this block right here we're going to be powering the dropper so that it can drop the items. I was saying dispense, but it actually drops the item. Now we're gonna do an elevator right there going up to the last chest. I think right here. Yeah, it's up to and about right here. So here we're going to place hoppers going into each of the chests like so, and then a hopper facing the first hopper, and that's where the water stream is going to end up. And now what we need to do to finish this elevator right here is to put just 1 block of water right there, and what you will have effectively, let me try with 1 stack of kelp. This is going to go up the elevator, and as you can see, it's jumping very high, and that's going to produce some leakage like what you can see right there. So what we do is just top it off with some glass up until this point right there, and there you go. You can see the items are flowing down now, and they're going to be arriving right here in this chest. Now let's go on to the next stage of this little contraption right here. So we need to feed all of these furnaces with items and fuel. So we're going to do the exact same thing that we did for our Super Smelter version 2. And if you want to check that video, I'm going to put it right there in the information bubble. If you can see my hand, I'm lefty, so that's kind of awkward. Oh man. Anyways, let's continue working here. Remember to shift click this thing up until here. So there you have the 2 lines of hoppers, and we're going to have power rails on top of them. So the easiest to do is land right here. In survival you're not going to be flying, so you won't have a problem with that. And let's get on with this. Now if you're facing I think I'm facing east, let me just double check. Alright, if you're facing north-south, you're going to have a little bit of an issue when placing the second row of power rails. As you can see here, if I shift click here, this is going to shift direction. So the way to avoid this, you can still build this contraption even if you're facing the wrong direction. I'm gonna show you a little trick. Now if I continue this here and trying to remember what I did, I have a detector rail right here and another block, normal rail, another block, and a power rail, and this is where the line ends right there. Now since this is now connected, that means that I'm supposed to be able to get this built, except for the last one, as you can see there. Now this is tricky. Now put this one right here, and I put the detector rail again, and no problems whatsoever. Now for this side we need to have the connection done first, and this needs to be a little bit further back. So I'm gonna do 2 regular rails, a power rail. Remember I just came out with this design, so I'm not, you know, haven't memorized it completely. And now when I place the power rail here, shift clicking, that's not gonna work. So let me just remove that one from there, place the first one and replace this one, and that's the deal done. So you have a stoppage block right here so that the train goes back and forth this circuit right here, and now we're going to finish this up with regular rail and a power rail. Now these detectors are very important, and you want to check again the tutorial about the super smelters so that you can you know, make sure you understand why I'm doing it that way. Now we need to power both of these rails at once, so I'm gonna place a block floating right here and a torch, and as you can see, rails are now powered. Now this is the one that goes into fuel, which means that it accepts items from this side, and that's why I've done it like that. Now in order to be able to work with this, we need to add a torch right here powering that thing, and then like 3 blocks like so, not that one, but 3 blocks like so in a sort of triangle thing, comparator and redstone, and there you go. That's the amount of delay that you need for up to about 22 furnaces, if I'm not wrong. Alright, so once you're done with that one, we're going to do the same thing with this thing. We need a torch right here and the triangle comparator. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating a pulse extender out of these poles when the car goes through this detector rail, which is going to turn off the torch for a very short amount of time, allowing the car to collect the items onto the input chests. Now I'm going to very quickly grab the chest from there using my middle mouse click, and then put the chest where they belong, and I'm going to collect, if I can, a minecart, and just, you know, have the minecarts going. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is to find a way to shimmy all of the items off of the last chest right here into the input chest for the fuel in this way. So I'm going to add, I think it is a hopper. Shift click please. I don't have hoppers in my hand, that's why I can't do it. So 2 hoppers going this way. That's right. And then I'm going to have a water source, so I need my soul sand again. You just heard the farm going. up there. So if I stand right here, I think it's here, right? So let me pick up the glass and see if it's aligning correctly. Yes, it is. So that's where the elevator has to go. So we're gonna come here and quickly add a dropper facing my way if I can. There you go. And complete the elevator all the way up to this hopper right here. Now, if you're wondering why I did one extra block in this, you know, you can see that this pulse extender is one extra block away from the line that this one, and the reason is because this block gets power by the redstone right here, and if this block gets power, it's going to lock this hopper, effectively rendering our first furnace useless. So that's why I had to, you know, to move this one block to the back. Now let's continue with the elevator thing right here. We create the chamber right there, and you know, effectively making the water go into the hopper. Now we need to fill in the water. All right, now with the water in place, I'm going to seal the chamber right here so that we don't lose any elements, and quickly replicate the hopper clock that we had, but this time it's going to the opposite side. Let me get some redstone, because we need some way of getting you know, the fuel into this dropper, and we're gonna do it with a hopper line going this way. And then if I destroy these blocks temporarily, I can just, let's see, I need one hopper facing that hopper. Remember to shift click so that the hoppers are connected, and then the last hopper needs to be facing that first one. So if I put some items here, they're going to be distributed in time into the furnaces, and we're not going to see anything because that's not fuel. So we effectively broke the system. So let me just remove that and be right back. Alright, so we now have an automatic fuel distribution system with a buffer right here. This acts as a buffer. This is a really big buffer that is going to store your excess fuel that you can later use for other super smelting projects. Now the only thing we need is the kelp farm. We need an automatic kelp farm, and there are many ways of doing this, or maybe two general ways of doing this. The observer kelp farm that I did right here, I'm going to show you how to build it in a second. And the other way, which is arguably much more efficient and you can do much bigger with that, is the one that Exuma did with flying machines. You need an underwater flying machine, and then you need a flying machine on top, and you need carefully, you know, design clocks that so that the flying machine on the bottom, you know, sweeps through the kelp first, and then the flying machine on the top, you know, collects them once they went to the surface. And you get that with water streams into a collection system. Now you can watch Hermitcraft Series 6, the first episodes in there. He is very busy, you know, building his kelp farm, and that's really awesome. And I'm not gonna go, you know, delve deep into that, because I think that's mid-game or late-game mechanics is very hard to make. It will take you a lot of time to dig into the ocean and stuff like that. What I'm going for right here is a slightly simpler, although you know, not so fast way of collecting kelp. But the good news about this is that this is stackable. You can go as high as you want with modules right here, and also you can get this hopper line right here, you know, take it to the back and around and build another, you know, tower right behind this one. So you don't really have an excuse as to how much kelp you can produce with this thing. So that's the good thing about you know, that you can start very cheap like so with 2 modules, and then you can go crazy, and you know, you can still produce a lot of kelp that way. And that's what Mambo did, and this is actually inspired by Mambo Chambo's farm, which probably arguably is a little bit better than that one, but that one was fairly simple to make. So let's just, you know, stop mumbling and go directly into the making of the kelp farm. All right, so we have the input chest right here. So what we're going to do is go 2 blocks beneath, and then 8 blocks for an 8 block long kelp farm. And if I can do that, and that should be the 8th hopper right there. And as you can see, it aligns with the furnaces right there. All right, so to the back of the hoppers, shift clicking the first one, we're going to do a row of 8 dirt blocks like so, and then we're going to start making a cage around it. So the first block is going to be any support block that you can make. Go to the side with 2 blocks like that. And then I'm going to do the first one with concrete because, you know, there's nothing interesting going on right here. But then I thought that we could do glass here, even though you need signs or stairs or some block to prevent water from spilling in there and creating infinite water blocks, unfortunately. But that's, you know, that's how it is. So the second block is going to have the pistons, the second row, and then the third row is going to have the observers. And this is the exact same mechanism that I use for my 100% efficient sugarcane farm. I forget the name of things, but yeah, sugarcane farm. And you can, you know, check the information bubble if you want to know how I did that. Now you do redstone right there, so anytime something is updated in the front of the observers, the pistons are going to fire and it's going to break the kelp. Now you need to go right here up to here and 1 extra block over, because we need a small current of water to push the kelps to the side, you know, the ones that decide to fly off. You need to do it, and we're going to do it like this, so protecting the redstone. There you go. This is the nature of the cage that you need to build. And now we're going to proceed with filling it with water. But okay, first I need to do, because this is really cool, I'm going to fill this in with signs. This is a little bit tedious, but has to be done in each and every one of the front blocks of the farm. All right, that's all of our signs, and then all you need to do is just create a pool here, and notice how the water is not, you know, spilling over because of the signs. You might already know that. And then we go up to the top and, you know, testing that everything fires correctly. And lastly, we're going to place water sources in each and every one of the observers. So this is creating a water current, which means that if any of the kelps gets trapped in here, they're going to float eventually and then be pushed to the side and drop into the hoppers. Anyway, so the last thing that we need to do for this farm is, and we're pretty done here, 1 row of kelp. There you go. And you can test this if you can just place something there, and you can test that everything works correctly and that we're going to be having some stuff already going into the furnaces pretty fast, huh? Anyways. Okay, now up to the relatively easy task of making another floor of this, another module. I'm gonna do it like so, and then start with the dirt right above the water right there. I don't think we need that one. We can do with this. So there's a row here, and then we'll have pistons. So remember, you need 1 row for the kelp to be, 1 row for the pistons to actuate, and a 3rd row for the observers to detect when the kelp grew. So that's basically how you do that. There you go. And now we're going to encase this with blocks, but we're going to close that gap right there. Yeah. And go 1 over. There you go. And then just for the rest of the pool, we are going to go around, and there you go. Now we only need to extend our glass and of course the signs up to the top. All right, now that's all completed. We can just create another artificial, very futuristic looking pool here. Careful. Well, you don't really need to make all of this perfect because the kelp is going to create source blocks all over the farm. So that's not really necessary, but you know, just for the sake of making this tidy, now we create the current and we plant the kelp. And there you have it. We have the second module of the farm right there. It's pretty neat. Now, if you want to tidy this up, yes, I might just close this because, let's face it, doesn't look very good. So yeah, you can just do that. And then I know we don't need these blocks. I knew that we were doing just one extra than we needed. And maybe we don't even, yeah, we do need that one. You know that you need that one when water starts spilling. So that's about as little, you know, support blocks that you need for the farm. Now, the last thing that you do here is just put a little ceiling right here. And you can go and also, you know, cover all of this up. But I think that with just this one is enough. The thing that we're trying to prevent here is the kelp to fly off, you know, over the top of the farm when they get, you know, cut. But yeah, that's pretty much, you know, it. And if you want to test this, you might want to, you know, get yourself some dry kelp blocks. Once that will do, just put it in the input chest right here and see how they start flying. And we should start seeing the furnaces turn on very quickly. Alright, but with random tick speed set to 500, we can speed things up, and you know, you can see how this farm is going. And the furnaces are already burning a lot of kelp. Now, granted, you need a really big kelp farm to make this useful. But yeah, this is a pretty neat design right here that you can use on your 1.13 walls to generate, first of all, a lot of fuel for your smelters. You no longer need coal for this. Secondly, you can just gather XP from the furnaces when this chest is full of dry kelp, and then these two hoppers back up, and then the furnace start accumulating dry kelp in the slot right here. You can very easily grab yourself a lot of levels and fix your stuff, you know, fairly quickly. And granted, there's a little bit of flow right here where some kelp can land in the dirt on the floor, so you might consider just doing this flat and just extending the line of hoppers in a zigzag, you know, all to the back of the farm, and you know, have just one module tall farms going. But I think, you know, the second and third floors are still, you know, decently productive in a way. So okay, I have a problem here in which I created source blocks for some reason, and now it's fixed. So I just removed all of the water and redone all of the currents right there. So make sure this is a water current, otherwise you're going to have a lot of kelp floating around here. You're going to lose a lot of your productivity. But yeah, one last thing and then we're done. Alright, so I just wanted to show you one example on how you can decorate this farm, which can actually look pretty beautiful. You can add some levers right here to stop the carts from going if you want to turn this off. But as you can see, you know, once you have enough kelp flowing through the farm, you know, once the farm is big enough, you can have a constant flow of things getting, you know, burned right here. You can already start making more fuel to feed into the system. You're gonna have this thing virtually running forever and getting all of your fuel needs and all of your XP needs, you know, even possibly your mending needs for, you know, fixing your tools. Anyways, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you like this, leave a like, leave a comment, or subscribe to my channel for some more Minecraft tutorial. Check my survival series, in which we are just starting to make all of these beautiful early game stage farms for you, so you can, you know, check how this feels in a survival environment where you can, that's much more difficult to build. So that's a good experience to watch. Anyways, see you later and take care.